What's going on, guys? My name is Alex, and today we're going to compare the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 4K to the iPhone 11 Pro camera. Quite the extreme comparison, I know, but I think you'll find it interesting. So we ran both devices through a series of tests while mounted to the same rig at the same time. The tests included low light test, slow motion test, internal stabilization test, as well as the skin tones test. So basically how well the skin tones look on either camera. All right, guys, so first test is the skin tones test. So let's just look at this clip and talk about it as we go through. So on iPhone, as you can see, there's quite a bit of, this all blended around my nose, quite a bit of loss of detail around the side of my face here, as you can see, but decent detail around the sweater over here. But now we switch to the Blackmagic, and it's crazy. You can see the pores of my skin. The image is just more flat and more cinematic, just better looking image, skin tones wise. All right, so now we'll look at the low light test. So this is just the lighter being lit in the dark. So as you can see, it's very grainy. Don't mind this artifact, I know it's an exporting issue, but it's lots of grain in the darks, lots of grain in the lights, as well as not much dynamic range there. Now, if you go to the Blackmagic footage real quick here, as you can see right away, there's no grain in the darks, there's barely any grain in the lights. It's just a very sharp looking image, even though there's barely any light. And again, much more cinematic look. All right, guys, so this is the internal stabilization test. So this is the iPhone 11 Pro. As you can see, it's actually pretty good. I mean, they were bragging about it at the conference, so it actually lives up to the bragging because it's very stable. Now, this is the Blackmagic. This is just on the same rig as the iPhone with the Lumix 1235 2.8 with internal stabilization on the lens. And as you can see, it's actually not that bad. It's actually holding up to the iPhone. All right, guys, so this is the slow motion test on the iPhone at 120 frames per second at 1080p. Versus the Blackmagic in 2.8K at 120 frames per second as well. So as you can see, it's actually pretty impressive. But then again, the iPhone loses quite a bit of detail in the darks. There's not much dynamic range, and as you can see on my face, it's actually quite kind of blurred. Not blurred. What's the word? Smudged. Let's say the smudge would be the right word. So there's not much detail in the face. And now we go to the Blackmagic. It's just, I mean, if you compare the two, clearly Jordan knows what he's doing and I don't, but if you compare the two, let's see again. So that's actually, it seems like it's moving much quicker versus on the Blackmagic, it's much more kind of epic slow motion, I would say. Now, this is a shot that we just shot outside of our building, nothing special here. This is just to showcase the amount of detail on the iPhone versus the Blackmagic. So quite a bit of detail, like decent. Also, pretty impressive bokeh on this. Just check that out on the right side here. Like that's pretty impressive. Now we go to the Blackmagic. Bokeh is pretty much the same on both, it seems. And even though this was a 2.8 lens, the iPhone 11 Pro, I'm not sure what the focal length of that lens is, but still pretty comparable. But in the details, you can just see it's just much more dynamic range again. And yeah, it just looks much sharper of an image. Okay, guys, so this is another low light test. This is the iPhone. As you can see, quite a bit of detail at the bottom here, quite a bit of detail on the lighter over here in the scratches. But to be quite frank, we all agreed in the team of Prolix here that this is probably the hardest test to compare because if you look at the Blackmagic versus the iPhone, it's pretty similar. Other than this one being a little more red, like picking up the colors better than the iPhone. Where's the iPhone shot? Right here. This is like kind of overexposed red versus kind of the correct red. Other than that, it's pretty comparable. Like, do you guys agree? Let us know in the comments below. But if you look at the scratches here on the lighter versus on the iPhone, it's pretty comparable. Plus the bokeh is quite impressive as well on the iPhone compared to the Blackmagic. Of course, it's more extreme on the Blackmagic because this is a 2.8 as mentioned before, but yeah, quite impressive. All right, guys, so hopefully you enjoyed this video of us comparing the Blackmagic Pocket to the iPhone 11 Pro cameras. Of course, they're quite extreme examples. One's a cell phone, one's a dedicated cinema camera, but we figured it'd be a fun little comparison. Let us know what you thought about the comparison. Is it that drastic of a difference? Did you see quite a bit of difference between shots from the iPhone to the Blackmagic? Let us know in the comments below. And if you did like this video, please do give us a nice thumbs up. We do appreciate it. And please do subscribe to the channel if you're not already. And send this video to a friend that may have an iPhone and a Blackmagic, or one or the other, or maybe considering one or the other. Send them over. But anyway, see you in the next video. Cheers.